Welcome to the footballdiehards.com Week 5 of the NFL Tuesday Waiver Wire edition. I have with me Mike Beacom. How you doing, Mike?
Doing well. I'm pleased to be with you.
Yes, and we want to chit-chat a little bit about your free agent waiver wire and buy-sell article that you just put up this morning. You got one or two tips that you can sneak in off that article?
Yeah, by this time of the season, you're starting to see the number of waiver wire guys start to taper down a bit. We saw a couple of things in Week 4 I think are interesting. Buccaneers, Mike Evans has got a groin injury, and Lewis Murphy really stepped up. So this is a guy that recently brought in off the street. He was kind of a tweener for fantasy owners in past seasons, but put up some nice numbers. And that offense, that passing attack, seems to be taking off with Mike Glennon. So he's a guy you could pick up, fit into your lineup as a fill-in guy, and see where he goes from here.
Man, I tell you what, that guy, I was watching in the fourth quarter. He looked like a man. He was, had size. It was like I was looking at a new guy, but maybe just the opportunity, perhaps.
Vincent Jackson gets a lot of attention in that offense, obviously, so it opens some things up, and he can play off of that. But he's one of the more experienced guys they have. Besides Jackson, I think he's going to help them.
Now you had a few other people on the waiver wire article, and what I'm saying here is that one's on the premium, and this video probably won't be, so I don't want to mention everybody. But I like what you said about Flacco. Tell us about Flacco this coming weeks.
Yeah, so with this report every week, we look at waiver wire candidates, but also I try to focus on guys with trades that either you want to buy or sell. One thing you're looking at with Joe Flacco is we saw the first 4 weeks of the season, Baltimore's passing game has surprised people. It struggled last year. I think there was concern with Anquan Boldin, and they didn't really pick it back up. Steve Smith has breathed some new life into that passing game. But if you look at their upcoming schedule, they play the NFC South, and that's really been a bad team against the pass. So out of their next 7 opponents, 5 of them ranked 20th or worse in pass defense. Joe Flacco, not a guy that fantasy owners crave, but he's done well, and I think he's somebody who will continue to do well over the next couple of months.
Yeah, that's a good input. I actually have Flacco in the league, and I had Romo, and for some crazy reason, I decided to start Romo this last week, Week 4. I cried all day until Sunday night when Romo scored like 1 point less than Flacco, 27 versus 26. So I slept well, but that was a close call.
Yeah, certainly Romo looks like he's kind of back to old form. Both of those quarterbacks can be hit and miss, but Flacco's a guy that I think could be a good sleeper for fantasy owners in need.
Yeah, one thing that was interesting, I was looking at the article today, and I wasn't paying that much attention in the last week or two. I apologize, and I was saying, oh, you missed Derek McKinnon for Minnesota, and then I emailed you, and then you pointed out to me that, by golly, you had him in your report last week. Booyah for you. Good job.
Well, I mean, that's a guy, obviously, with Peterson gone, they've struggled. There's been a lot of hype over McKinnon, and so it was a matter of when. I think he only had 2 carries in Week 3. But it wasn't working out with what they were doing. I think there was some anticipation he was going to get more work. The combination of what he brought to the offense and Bridgewater, I think those guys have people excited, and Minnesota can do coming out of this Adrian Peterson fiasco.
Yeah, and I wonder now what's going to happen there. Are they going to share the rock, him and Asiata, or it's now you've got to. I mean, they can't do what they did last week, and they both almost got 100 yards and their total of 4 touchdowns. It was insane. So I don't know. Now it kind of leaves you at a little bit of a dilemma. Although I assume Asiata is the guy you got to start.
I mean, he's going to get work, and I still feel like they've got 2 complementary backs. McKinnon's the more explosive of the 2, but I do think it helps if Bridgewater remains healthy. The fact that he brings a dual element as a running quarterback, that helps that backfield because it's going to keep defenses on their toes. It'll bring some balance back to the Vikings.
Yeah, speaking of Bridgewater, I thought it was really fun to watch Bortles and Bridgewater get a start, and it was fun to see new quarterbacks that actually have some talent that stepped up, and I had a blast. I'm not sure how much their startable over the next few weeks. I was glancing at their opponents, and it wasn't really the greatest matchups off the top of my head, but it was still fun to watch those guys get their start. Excuse me, get their start.
Historically, rookie quarterbacks are a no-go for fantasy owners. Even Peyton Manning, guys like that put up huge numbers as rookies, those are pretty good numbers for fantasy quarterbacks. So typically you don't want one. Bortles is in a unique situation. They've got a lot of young weapons, but he's a non-play for fantasy owners. Bridgewater, because of his ability to run the football, I think he's somebody that you have to consider if you have a need at number 2. But in general, always good practice to stay away from rookie fantasy quarterbacks.
Well, speaking of that, I started Bortles last week in a desperation start in one of those expert leagues. I think it was the FSWA expert league, and I had nobody. I had RG3, and there was nobody, and I ended up starting Bortles, and it actually helped me. He got me, 15 points? So not much, but it helped. The desperation is always trumps anything else, even though it was a horrible position, I had to start him.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting playing time. I'm a little bit surprised. They made a huge investment. I don't know that people thought that Jacksonville was going to go that direction in the draft. But he's going to learn this season. Lee has been banged up. Cecil Shorts has missed time. So it's good to see guys like Robinson, Hearns, some of these guys that are no names or younger players are stepping up. That's a team that's at least a couple years away. But when they get there, Bortles will have some experience, assuming that he holds up.
Well, just at a glance, I like the way he's looking at the field. He can run a little bit. Just the things you see, he seems to have already has, step above your typical rookie. So it was just fun to watch. And I think I picked him up in one of my dynasty leagues. So maybe I'm a little happy about that. But it was definitely a desperation start. So anyway, Mike, we're almost done. I apologize. We were going to do a 2 to 4 minute. We're at 7 minutes. Tell the fans out there, the football diehards, how cold it is there. You got all your stuff on there. I mean, you're looking comfortable.
It's Wisconsin weather, so we feel like we got cheated out of a spring, and looks like we're going to get cheated out of fall. It went from summer to early winter, but it's chilly. We have some inconsistent weather, but
you don't have any it didn't snow or anything, did it?
No. But I mean, you go from 80-degree weather down to 30-degree weather, but we're used to it. So
yeah, well, it's fun. It would be nice to have a little fall. Well, Mike, thank you. We'll talk next week, and enjoying the articles. You're nailing a lot of stuff. The fans, I'm sure, are loving it. And we will talk later. Thank you, sir. By the way, don't forget Bob Harris and Mike Dempsey are on Serious Fantasy Football Diehards. It is on 5 to 7 every day, Monday through Friday, and we also have 3 hours on Sunday morning from 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock Eastern time. Those are all Eastern times. So do listen there, and of course we'll have more articles up. It's early in the week, so enjoy fantasyfootballdiehards.com. Talk to you later, and your fantasy weekend. Have a good one.